they're asking, how was it doing time with Rick Ross? Did you ever meet him or anything like that? Because you mentioned him before.
No, I don't know Rick Ross, but I know of Rick Ross. Rick Ross was well, he was a drug dealer. He was the guy that introduced cocaine into L.A. and he got it from the CIA. So you know that's just how it is, right?
Yeah. Well, speaking of the
And
CIA,
I mentioned one because yeah.
go ahead, man. Go ahead. I go ahead.
No. I was just saying, I've seen Rick Ross on 60 Minutes talking about he got the drugs from the CIA.
Yeah.
And I remember the investigation by the little Hoover Commission down in L.A. jamming the CIA and the federal government up about what's up about you giving this guy cocaine to bring it into L.A. And he turned L.A. out with crack and everything. And naturally, they deny it and all that. But I remember all that. And they did the little series Snowfall, which is a loose trip on cocaine dealing with Rick Ross. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And then there was another thing. I did the Five program. The Five program, now it's called Breakthrough. It's like a real comprehensive rehabilitation program. Rick Ross was in there in one of the books, but then prisoners and other prisoners, I think out east, I may be mistaken, but I think it was out east. They complained that he was in the book because they're saying basically they're saying he's an informant.
Who, Rick?
Uh, Prisoners said they didn't want to read a textbook with his story in from rags to riches.
Oh, yeah, they're just hating
So
on him.
anyhow, so
Oh,
I don't know. All I know is they removed it. They removed him from the book.
huh. I'll
They
have to,
took him out of the book.
I'll have to look into that.
Uh,
But speaking on the CIA, man, this is from Bobby B. He's asking, what do you know about the CIA dosing prisoners with LSD back in the day?
well, I don't personally know about it, but I know they were doing that, and I know they used to have it down in. They had a drug program down in Lexington, Kentucky, and for heroin addicts and all that, they would give them heroin and all that, but they were also testing LSDs out and all that. That stuff there was, they used to do a lot of experimentation on prisoners. They used to do a lot of experimentation on prisoners without letting you know. And then once it became known what they were doing, they started getting busted up. This ain't just like CIA. This is the government. This is big pharma. This is everybody. And then it got to the point where they stopped that. And then if they were going to do experimentation on prisoners, there were some programs that you could get in, but they had to compensate you for it and stuff like that. It's like in California, in California prisons. Okay, if you were in pain, if you were in real pain, you had physiological pain before you could get any pain meds, you would have to go through a whole series of psych meds first.
Oh, what the? I hate when they
So
do that, like
what happened?
amitriptyline and all that
No,
shit.
that's what they were doing. That's involved affections, all this stuff. So it puts you on antidepressants first.
Yep.
And what they're doing is they're saying that, well, it's all in your mind. The pain's in your mind anyhow. So if we deal with the mind, it'll make the pain go away. Well, that's not necessarily true. So what they would do, they came out, say for instance, with Effexor. Effexor is really bad for you. Anyhow, number one, I had all the side effects of it. It's really fucking bad. Okay, but what they were doing is they started giving Effexors on the main lines in the CDC, California Department of Corrections, and guys were taking it because when they first came out with it, it was little tablets, and it was like little speed pills.
Oh,
So dudes were going with it kind of like an off-brand speed, but it was like little speed. So people were doing it
the
and
Wellbutrin.
saying, "Oh yeah, this works." So now they're getting a cheap speed, right?
Yeah.
So what they did after, because at first it's being advertised on TV as an antidepressant. Now they're saying they're getting the studies out of the CDC and probably other prisons too, saying that it works for pain. So now they're advertising it on TV as a dual use medication for both antidepressant and pain. So they're still running experimental patient programs, programs in prisons. And that's what was happening in California. And I guarantee it's happening all over the country, probably all over. Big pharma runs drugs through prisons, right?
Yeah.
Those are testing spots. Yeah.
Yeah. And the Wellbutrin, man.
So there was a guy, I know a guy.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Wellbutrin, that's like a cheap cocaine, a prison cocaine.
Oh yeah.
They pulled it out of this system.
I've tried it. I don't know why people would even fuck with it. And then gabapentin, people abusing that. It's like, I don't understand. Anyway, go ahead.
Well, in this system, they call Wellbutrins, they call them GERPs. But
Oh.
they pulled it out of the system. Everybody was getting them because it was speed. It was cheap speed. They have a patent in California, they call them nanas. And I remember walking the yard one time, there's like 5, 6 of us just
Call done. Badge occurred.
happy pills. And I tell him, what do you mean happy pills? He's talking about nanas, meaning gabapentins, neurons. And I tell him, those are like nerve pain. Those are actually anticonvulsants. Those are anticonvulsants. And he says, oh, yeah. He said, man, motherfuckers love them. He says, in fact, he said, watch this. And about, another 3 parts, maybe 6 of us all together, maybe 3 or 4 in front of us further up. And he says, watch this. The Howard Duty says, hey, what are the best fucking pills you've ever eaten? The best happy pills. Dude says, nanas. That's the gabapentin.
Oh. Yeah, I've been prescribed that stuff
And
for years, man, and I never liked the way it made me feel if I took, more than I was prescribed.
well, I was on nanas for neuropathy, and I was on tramadols, which is basically a synthetic morphine.
Yep.
And if you take tramadols and neurotics together, that'll really get you fucking loaded. It's
What?
like it's a prize cocktail out there.
Yeah. I can. You know what, man? When you take gabapentin with some certain things like Suboxone and methadone or tramadol, there's a difference. I understand it there.
So, but listen, you gotta understand that some of these guys will take anything just to get a head change.
Shit.
Anything.
Yeah, that panic.
Those are people that are really, really desperate, and basically they're mentally ill. They got a lot of psychological issues, emotional issues. They aren't dealing with it, and that's what happens when you try to deal with the deeper underlying psychological issues with chemicals. People get, they start using chemicals, man, and they get acclimated to that. So all they want to do is do chemicals, and then the psychiatric, mental health and all they want to do is they want to use chemicals and treat people with chemicals, and they never really get to the underlying issues, man. They never deal with shit. You know what I mean?
Yep, absolutely.
You got people out in California, man. You got J-Cats out in California, man, running around, fucking that are, man, they're like an EOP building, man, and they're fucking, they get pockets full of Skittles trying to sell that shit, and they're just lit on that shit. They got a whole fucking handful of that shit in their system. You know what I mean?
Yep. Hey, man, when you were even in high desert on 180s EOP, do they have 180 EOPs?
Yeah, they got 180.
Yeah.
180, sometimes those are the PSUs.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like Pelican Bay, the kind of the one at the EOP, enhanced outpatient, basically is like a PSU or psychiatric services unit that's also to slam people that they can't put in the shoe because they'll bug out because they got underlying psychological issues. So what they do is they put them in the PSUs, right? But yeah, they have EOP buildings. I remember seeing them on 270s. I believe they're on 182, right?
Okay.
Unless they transition them from a 180 to a 270, it's still a level 4.
Yep.
It's just, and it doesn't really matter. You would think, unless they were really, they were trying to transition them into an EOP type of construct, therapeutic construct and all that. They, in fact, wait a minute. In fact, I think I was in Kern Valley. I think they had an EOP there, and that was 180.
Okay. So when
it was 180. Yeah.
how did these?
Hey, the only difference is they don't get slammed. They don't get slammed down. If something cracks off and we get slammed, they don't get slammed down.
That's
the only difference.
That's crazy. But I was asking that. I was just curious to see, they separate them, but they got some crazy ass dudes on this. But in high desert, man, when you first hit the yard, because that's the craziest joint, right? It's the lighthouse and all that. When you first hit the yard, how was it? Like, because I want to talk to you a lot about high desert too.
High desert is just it's a regular level 418. High desert's like a shoe kick out yard, but it's also if they kick you out to another spot and you fuck up, you end up in high desert, right? And so the thing is, it's just a regular level 418. It's regular politics. It is what it is, and but see, high desert, half the yard, you get the lower yard. That's the active yard. The upper yard is slammers, the G unit, and then the I think 7 and 8 blocks. I think they call them stuff like that. Those are slammers, but they're fucking they're for some guys that may have underlying psychiatric issues and all that. They don't put them in the deep shoes, right? But the upper yard in high desert, at least for like D yard, is fucking it's the slammer.
So
what I mean?
D yard, man, that's where Pat Brady and uh I can't remember the other Jason I forgot his Picasso, but that's where they hit Joker for making false claims in the drug debt. He was making false claims of being a brand member, and they butchered his ass in front of God, everyone, right in the middle of D yard. So what they must have flipped D yard. So what yards when you were there were SNY, and what yards were active?
The D yard was active. The D yard was SNY. A yard was kind of like a 50-50. It's a lower level, like a level 3. C yard, I think that was a level 3 too. I think D was the level 4. And B, although it was an SNY, it was a 270, but it was a level 4.
Uh-huh.
Hey, just keep motherfuckers trying to mess and watch. They're messing why
They're cracking, bro.
ITI and all them consider SNY as new mainline.
Well, I mean, I think it's up to like 80% of California is SNY. That's why they want to get rid of it. And you're right, they do look at it as mainline, and they're trying to do the 50-50. And did they do the 50-50 shit when you were there?
Well, they've always had 50-50s, but that doesn't work too good. Because if you're claiming you're active, but you're on a 50-50 yard, how does that work? How can you be on a yard where 50% is claiming they're active and the other 50% and they're not? What about targets on the yard?
Yeah.
Because you got a fundamental obligation. If somebody's on the yard and they're in a hat, you got to hit them. Otherwise, you're in the hat.
Well, that's why they stopped doing it.
That's the fallacy of 50-50 yards. And 50-50 yards, those were more like that. even before trying to do away with S and Y.
With
So here's what happened with the S and Ys. The S and Y started out of necessity at first. Before there was S and Ys, the dudes that dropped out or got forced out or whatever happened, they didn't even have names. They just had a number. They were hiding them away because these were dudes from Brand or Emmy or whatever that, or NF or whatever that were, serious dudes and came from serious sets. And motherfuckers are going to, really be after them, right? So they hid them away like in Riedel Slammers PC's hideout spot with no names or anything, just a number to protect them. And then once it became so prolific, motherfuckers started just guys would, like they used to have a saying, motherfuckers are locking up in the back seat of the motherfucking police car going to the county jail because they don't want to go to the regular main line because the S and Y
You have 1 minute left.
are easier. You don't have to fucking fall under the politics of the regular crews and all that. You start your own set, do your own thing. So everybody started doing that. So they aren't paying taxes.
Yep.
And now you got the whole fucking prison system, 80% of it's S and Y, but they're all gangbangers. It's not like they dropped out and ain't a gangbanger no more. Now they're running their own gang.